than to be against the law. Once you are on the side of the law, you have no problem. So make sure that you register your vehicles, you renew your vehicles. If your plate numbers are no more visible, you can equally reapply. They'll produce another one for you at a very minimal cost, and then don't against traffic. Don't park in unauthorized places. If you can just obey simple, regulations, you have no problem.
Thank you for gracing the program, sir. We do appreciate you.
My pleasure too. And I look forward to having more of this discussion, with the NTA. It's an avenue that propagates some of our activities, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was a clarion call to those who intend to invest in motorcycle business to do the needful by adhering to the established traffic rules and regulations to avoid the FCTA sledgehammer. Let's join hands to make Abuja a safer nation's capital city. Up next on the program is review of FCTA activities for the past week.
The Mandate Secretary, Hadisul Kabir, confirmed that over 3,000 establishments had been captured in a database forum in the last enumeration exercise. She explained that the Tourism Department of the Social Development Secretariat had secured the minister's approval to immediately commence the registration and licensing with a view to having the accurate database of all hotels and tourism in the nation's capital for security purpose.
Social Development Secretariat that are responsible for that registration, we have now brought everybody together and all the sisters agencies together for us to harmonize with the hotel owners. The exercise is starting immediately by all of them obtaining forms first.
The Director of Tourism, SDS, expressed concern that over 3,000 hotels operating in Abuja were not officially registered, saying the time to get it right is now.
We may or may not ask them for their arrears, depending on the outcome of the forum that they requested that we will have to do. But here we are, FCT, under tourism department, we are ready, we are willing. There are so many bills we are paying in Abuja today. Multiple taxes. We have APB, we have AMAC. They have conflicts of responsibilities. AMAC will come today, we are the ones to carry your waste. APB will come, we are the ones, we pay tax on one item, double taxes.
The registration and licensing of tourism and hospitality establishments in the FCT, the Secretary says, would ensure control of the industry in line with international standards.
More than 200 motorcycles seized for various traffic offences were crushed. Directorate of Road Traffic Services Abdul Latif Bello disclosed that the exercise is to serve as deterrent to other commercial motorcycle operators who violate the extant laws.
They are supposed to operate within the suburb and some other area councils, where we don't have active infrastructure.
The enforcement team raided Lugbe, Apo, and Galadima areas of the city as the enforcers insist the motorcycle operators must operate only within the designated areas.
People can see very clearly. Those in Galadimawa community are already seeing for themselves what those in Area 1 have seen, what those in Durumi have seen, what those around some part of AYA have seen. Those in Kubwa will soon be getting their own views of this. It's a free-for-all. Many persons had believed when these machines are impounded that something happened behind the corner, but now we are crushing in their very own presence here. It is very clear, we can say this and say it for free, that the FCT minister will work until the last day in office.
Apart from the general traffic nuisance, we are also looking at the security implication on safety of lives and property.
Meanwhile, those investing in motorcycle business in the territory have been advised to have a rethink, as the tax team believes that some of the motorcycles are being used as a tool to perpetrate criminal activities in the territory.
Let's stand by for our sanitation watch for the week.
The Director Department of Development Control, Mukhtar Galadima, who led other officials to the site, revealed that the developer of the ongoing estate did not adhere to the plan earlier approved for him by the department, which resulted to the extension of the project work to a green area. He added that flouting the city master plan in the name of development will no longer be tolerated.
It is for a personal park, but then the increase certain amount of spaces there, and so now since they are contesting based on our own ordinance, so we have called surveyors now to come and review, investigate the whole site, because most likely maybe there is shift on ground from the original space allocated, so we want to confirm.
In related development, the director also ordered another developer on Oladipo Road within Gadwa district to also stop work over unapproved development.
People should not just go beyond their boundaries. That is the message. Nobody should go beyond this boundary, and you must always build or develop in line with what was approved for you.
With this altercation between the contracting firm and the city managers, experts believe more needs to be done to avoid the occurrence of this unfortunate development in the territory.
The FCT administration has observed an increase in influx of street beggars into the city and metropolis. When you give alms directly to street beggars, you encourage this unwholesome practice with its attendant risks to all. Remember, street begging remains banned in the FCT. Residents are encouraged to channel their alms through recognized channels as the churches, mosques, and orphanages. A better approach which still guarantees the reward of your kind gesture, as neither Islam nor Christianity encourages begging. This way, we can rid the city of this menace. To keep Abuja safe is our collective responsibility. Play your part. This message is from the FCT administration.
I used to say that the FCT remains safe, and our confidence, we have our confidence in the ability of the security agency to provide adequate day and night. And what we have seen in the immediate past, a lot of successes have been recorded, and I believe they will continue to be recorded, particularly with the provision of the
This is where we call it a day on the program this week. Keep a date with us, same time, same station next week. For me and the entire crew, it's bye for now.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with NTA News Radio app, the one-stop information center. Bring news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the UB program. And be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economic, everything, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphones and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, more access to real-time information.
Did you get to see the way everybody posts this? Don't forget to send in your messages.
difference between teaching, child, and peace.
Exactly.
We are doing it. That is it. You can do more with less people.
If we have a better way of addressing these issues, taking care of
Congratulations, you were able to cite better from all these exits.
it's okay, I before your work.
people have used their phone, using TikTok to do that. A lot of people don't even have resources.
I'm Cecil, and this is the Medley Show on NTA.
NTA Tuesday Live, analytical, in-depth, educative, and interactive on national issues, accommodating all sides of opinions. We as a people have understood that we have to fight corruption before it fights us back. Poverty has a financial index, so it should be fought also with a financial weapon. Give it to the Social Investments Program. It has been a very courageous battle. Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Join us.
Creative visual arts has been believed to be the highest standard of artistic expressions. Artists make works that are purely created to be aesthetically pleasing, which distinguishes masters of art from other forms of art.
These are works that have been with these masters and have recognized that in dealing with art particularly, when you're buying any stock of art, let me just say this, you're not buying the regular car, you're not buying the regular jet there that you put in. This is something that has never fallen. There's no stock market that you find art has fallen. So it's always on the rise, and Nigeria is on the rise.
The demand for Nigerian art, both locally and globally, has equipped the artists with necessary skills to create various forms of art. And for the masters, it also provided a significant cultural component to help them in communicating ideas, entertain and awaken our curiosity and emotions.
It has to do with the Nigerian situation where we have the three major ethnic groups in the country, Hausa, Igbo and Yoruba. And the work here represents three figures with three different colors. So as the artist, I chose blue color to suggest that the man in blue is the good, and the man in red is the bad, while the man with black dress is the ugly. Will you say the Igbo man is the one wearing the blue color, or the red or black, or vice versa the Hausa man, or even the Yoruba man? So the major idea is that we are very rich, but unfortunately we are not making good progress because we have the good, the bad, and the ugly within our society.
On the news tonight, INEC moves to probe Adamawa resident electoral commissioner. Plus, JAMB organizers reshaded Mokiti Henley across the country. A very good evening to you, and it's good to have you join us on News at 7 on NT Lagos Channel 10. I am Hannah Luapo, Eliwa Toki. The 2 days water strike in by the aviation workers ends with a suggestion to concerned authorities to come to the round table to resolve contending issues affecting the workers. Larry Bailey reports.
It's the last.
Away from the aviation sector, 84,000 candidates sat for the rescheduled mock unified tertiary matriculation examination across the country. Registered Joint Admission and Matriculation Board Jam, Professor Ishak Oloyede, made this known while fielding questions from newsmen after monitoring the exam in Abuja, expressing satisfaction with the each free exercise. The registrar lauded the candidates for showing understanding over the board's decision to reschedule the examination. It noted that the glitches earlier observed in the mock UTME in some centers prompted the rescheduling of the examination. This he also attributed to the deployment of innovations. 387 computer-based CBT centers across the country participated in the mock UTME exercise, with 10 of the centers having 2 sections. Moving on, INEC in a meeting this Tuesday has resolved to write the Inspector General of Police for the immediate investigation and possible prosecution of the Resident Electoral Commission for Adamawa State, Udu Unisa Ari. INEC in its official Twitter handle also requests the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to draw the attention of the appointing authority to the unwholesome behavior of the REC for further action. The collation process of the governorship election results in Adamawa State to resume at a time to be determined by the returning officer. Moving on to health. The Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehanire, has launched a policy document for the benefit of Nigerian women, particularly those in their reproductive age. The document, which is aimed at helping women make informed reproductive choices in partnership with non-governmental organizations. Aisha Uba Ali reports.
These 5 documents launched at the government interventions enhancing reproductive health care for women, and if effectively implemented, will reduce maternal mortality, especially in post-abortion cases. However, speakers say complications in pregnancy and delivery are major causes of morbidity and mortality among women of reproductive age, causing increasing fistula rate. The reason for this launch.
It is in furtherance of making progress in the scale-up of these services that we are gathered here today to launch the key documents that I think will contribute a lot to achieving our targets.
Speakers at the event are optimistic that the document is a right step in the right direction towards reducing maternal mortality and providing quality maternal health care.
The community, particularly in the rural areas and the semi-urban areas, then a huge gap exists, and this is what the task-shifting tertiary policy is trying to breach.
Already acted, we can't also rule out the fact that some quacks do this. Would you let a woman die if she's been to quacks? So the government also has that mandate to provide quality care for its citizens, but abortion is not legal.
And at the end, there were assurances from stakeholders to continually harness their collective effort in improving maternal health. In Abuja, Aisha Uba Ali.
You're still watching News at 7 on Lagos Channel 10. More to come after this time out. Please to stay.
1xBet. Take part in promotion with cool prizes. Bet on the any sports events. Get tickets. Have a chance to win cool prizes. The more you bet, the greater your chances. Use promo code to get a welcome bonus right now.
Maltonic is enriched with vitamins and minerals for that rush of vitality you need to reach greatness.
It's Maltonic time!
Jackpot of the week. Place bets and hit the jackpot. Log into the 1xBet account. Click on the Take Part button. Place bet and take part in the jackpot draw. Feel like a winner with 1xBet. Use promo code to get a bonus on your first deposit.
Glad to have you back. You're still watching News at 7 on Lagos Channel 10. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has presented a document to the public for the 2023 Disaster Preparedness and Mitigation Strategy that would stimulate early warnings and actions at all levels. Director General of the agency, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, is optimistic that with the collaborative partnership of all stakeholders, the 2023 devastation will be strategically mitigated. Iyasu Ali Yakubu reports.
2023 climate predictions by NIMET and NISA indicate that more than 32 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, are expected to be severely hit by flooding, with many local government areas likely to experience high, moderate, and low risks of flooding. These documents present strategic interventions in a holistic manner to mitigate the devastating effects of the likely devastation. The document is also expected to aid responsive organizations carry out preparedness and mitigation actions to safeguard lives, livelihood, property, and the environment against hydrometeorological hazards. NEMA's Director General says, since the release of the focus, the agency has continued to hold engagements with relevant stakeholders to explore ways to mitigate the risks of the predicted floods and other related hazards throughout the 2023 rainy season.
The forecast have provided much insight into what to expect ahead of this rainy season. The reality is that this year may witness floods similar to what occurred last year, if not more.
Experts have looked at all those predictions, socio-economic implications, and what is prepared for Nigeria in 2023.
And this is a confirmation that Nigeria is not only ready for even anyone for all, but also synergizing for early action for disaster preparedness and mitigation in this country.
This year's forecast indicates that there is a high risk of coastal flooding due to expected rise in sea levels and tidal surge that may have a negative impact on agriculture, human settlement, and transportation in Bayelsa, Delta, Lagos, and River states. Flash and urban floods are also expected over many cities and towns due to poor drainage systems and non-compliance to town planning and environmental regulations. In Abuja, Ilyasu.
Away from NEMA, the federal government is deploying biotechnology towards addressing crude oil pollution on water and farmlands. To this end, a memorandum of understanding has been signed between the federal government and some local and international organizations. Musa Baba Ali reports.
Pollution as a result of oil exploration is common in oil exporting countries. Water, farmlands, including the environment, are often being contaminated with oil spill, with negative impacts on human and animal. And reclaiming a polluted area like this is not only expensive, but high technology is needed for the cleanup. This therefore brought about the use of biotechnology in addressing oil pollution. The Director General, National Biotechnology Development Agency, who signed the MOU on behalf of the federal government, says utilization of biotechnology will help solve perennial problems in Nigeria's upstream and downstream petroleum industry,
especially in tank farm management for resource reclamation and remediation of oil contaminated areas.
The local and international partners are expected to deploy know-how, including resources, in achieving the initiative. This is to ensure that the soil retains its richness for agricultural activities as well as environmental protection.
A tripartite MOU between NAFDAC and RAHAB and NSERV is designed to achieve the domestication, deployment, and commonization of biotechnical tools in the oil tank farm, cleaning crude oil, the paraffin recovery, and remediation.
It is expected that with this, Nigeria will be the first country to reduce oil pollution by nearly 90%. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Now let's take a peek into the entertainment world with Tolulope Shomi.
Afrobeat superstar David Adeleke, professionally known as Davido, has revealed that his billionaire father, Adedeji Adeleke, bribed him to go back to university. The 30-year-old singer made it known in a recent interview. The singer said he initially left school and even ran away from home, but was eventually forced to return to complete his education after his father made him a juicy deal. The deal entailed that if Davido attended school from Mondays to Fridays, his father would build him a world-class studio and provide him with money to shoot music videos on weekends. Davido acknowledged that it was a strong motivator for him to reconsider his decision and enroll back in university. However, the singer eventually graduated with a second-class upper degree from the music department. Moving on, movie producer and politician Funke Akindele is feeling overwhelmed with joy as her movie Battle on Bukka Street bags 10 nominations at the African Magic Viewers' Choice Awards. The talented Nollywood actress recently shared some exciting news on her Instagram page. She revealed that her movie Battle on Bukka Street has received an incredible 10 nominations for the African Magic Viewers' Choice Awards, while her other project, Siblings and I, received 1 nomination. Funke expressed her gratitude for the recognition from AMVCA, thanking the organizers for the nominations. She also expressed her appreciation to her fans for their unwavering support, which has been critical to her success. To the foreign scene, Oscar-winning actor Jamie Foxx remains hospitalized in Georgia and under observation. His daughter Corinne Foxx shares on her Instagram page recently that her father has experienced a medical complications, adding that he is on his way to recovery. The 55-year-old actor has been in Georgia filming the Netflix movie Back in Action, which remains just a week to wrap up. However, the media incident did not happen on the set. Meanwhile, they are still running tests and still trying to figure out what exactly happened. In Lagos, Tolulope Shomi, NC.
Up next is Sport Update with Olumide Eguntola.
We begin with golf. All is now set for the 8th edition of Western Zonal Championship, otherwise known as Ligan, scheduled for the 20th of April 2023 at the Ibadan Golf Club. Syrian national and international winner across different events, Evelyn Oyome, confirmed that over 200 golfers will display the best of golf artistry. In tennis, winners have emerged at the 2023 Tennis Players Parent UTR tournament, which ended at the Lagos Country Club. The focus of the tournament is to provide more opportunities for players to be ranked anywhere in the world. Peter Ubebi emerged the under-12 boys winner with a 2-0 victory over Daisy Yakubu.
I want to see our children in the next 5-10 years, somewhere, playing Roland Garros, somewhere playing Wimbledon, somewhere playing greater tournament. I want to just say, look, Nigeria has massive talent.
And in football, second leg actions of the UEFA Champions League quarterfinals return Tuesday and Wednesday. Chelsea will attempt to upturn a 2-0 deficit Tuesday night when the team takes on Real Madrid. AC Milan has a long goal advantage over Napoli. On Wednesday, Bayern Munich has a difficult task at hand when the team takes on Manchester City with a 3 goals advantage. Inter Milan, playing at home, might have it easy against Benfica, having won the first leg 2-0. With sports updates, Olumide Guntola, NT News.
A quick look at the weather forecast for tomorrow across Lagos metropolis. And on that note, we wrap up the news at 7 on NT Lagos Channel 10. The Yoruba translation of the news comes up shortly with Benga Oloyede. I am Hanuluapo Eliwatoki. Good evening.
Ẹ kú àṣálẹ́, ẹ sì kú dédé àsìkò yìí. Àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn ló ń dé sétí ìgbọ̀yìn láti iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán ìjọba àpapọ̀ tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. Gbẹ̀ngà Olóyèdè ni oníròyìn, ìròyìn rèé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́. Ìyanṣẹ́lódì ọlọ́jọ́ méjì tí àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ òṣìṣẹ́ ẹ̀ka ọkọ̀ òfurufú ràlí ló ti tẹnubẹ́po pẹ̀lú àbá sí ọ̀dọ̀ tàwọn aláṣẹ tí ọ̀rọ̀ náà kàn láti padà sí orí tábìlì láti yanjú àwọn kùdìẹ̀kudiẹ fàákàjà fún àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ òṣìṣẹ́ náà. Ikọ̀ akọ̀ròyìn wa Lárí Gbélẹ̀ yìí tó mú ìròyìn wá sọ wípé àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ òṣìṣẹ́ náà ni wọ́n fẹsẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn ló bá dé pòyì kiri àyíká àti agbègbè pápákọ̀ òfurufú tó wà ní agbègbè Ìkẹjà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀kan nínú ìlérí wọn láti ràlé ètò ìyanṣẹ́lódì ọlọ́jọ́ méjì èyí tí wọ́n fẹnu ìyanṣẹ́lódì náà sọlẹ̀ sí agbègbè ìdíkọ̀ ọkọ̀ òfurufú bí ọ̀kan nínú ìfìhónúhàn wọn hàn sí onírúurú ìpèníjà tó ń kojú iṣẹ́ ṣíṣe wọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí òṣìṣẹ́ ní ẹ̀ka ọkọ̀ òfurufú. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àwọn aṣojú ẹgbẹ́ òṣìṣẹ́ ní ẹ̀ka ọkọ̀ òfurufú faraya fún àwọn ẹ̀tọ́ tó tọ́ sí wọn lórí gbígba owó oṣù tí wọ́n sì lo àsìkò ìwọ́de ìyanṣẹ́lódì náà fi ìhónú ọkàn wọn hàn pẹ̀lú ìrètí wípé àwọn aláṣẹ tí ọ̀rọ̀ náà kàn yóò tú èrò wọn pa nípa yíyanjú àwọn ìṣòro tó rọ̀gbà yíká àwọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí òṣìṣẹ́ ní ẹ̀ka ọkọ̀ òfurufú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà. Alákòóso àjọ tí ó ń ṣe kòkárí ètò ìdánwò táwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí a mọ̀ sí JAMB ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Ishaq Olóyèdè sọ wípé 84 àwọn olùkópa akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ni wọ́n jókòó kọ ìdánwò lọ sí iléèwé gíga káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Alákòóso ọ̀hún ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Ishaq Olóyèdè sọ èyí di mímọ̀ ní àsìkò tó ń gba ọlọ́kan-ò-jọ̀kan ìbéèrè láti ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn akọ̀ròyìn lẹ́yìn ìmójútó ètò ìdánwò náà ní ìlú Àbújá. Ní ìgbà tó ń fi ọkàn ìdùnnú rẹ̀ hàn lórí ìrọwọ́rọsẹ̀ ètò ìṣèdánwò náà, lo àsìkò náà gbé òṣùbà kárí láé fún ẹ̀mí ìgbọ́ra ẹni yé tí àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí wọ́n ṣe ìdánwò náà ṣàfihàn rẹ̀ lórí ìpinnu tàwọn ìgbìmọ̀ tí wọ́n ṣe kòkárí ètò ìdánwò náà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe àkíyèsí wípé látàrí àwọn kùdìẹ̀kudiẹ tó wáyé ní àwọn ojúkò ìṣèdánwò tí mock UTM ló fa ìṣokùnfà àtúnṣe ìdánwò náà èyí tó túbọ̀ fa àgbékalẹ̀ àwọn ìmọ̀ tuntun. àjọ elétò ìdìbò nínú ìpàdé wọn lónìí tí ń ṣe ọjọ́ ajé Tuesday ti yanjú láti kọ lẹ́tà sí gíwá tàwọn ọlọ́pàá orílẹ̀-èdè yìí fún wàràǹkàṣà ṣíṣe ìwádìí àti ṣíṣe ètò ìbánirojọ́ fún kọmíṣánná tàwọn àjọ elétò ìdìbò ìpínlẹ̀ Adamawa Hudu Yunusa Ari. Àjọ elétò ìdìbò nínú ẹ̀rọ àgbọ̀rọ̀káyé wọn títà béèrè fún akọ̀wé àgbà sí ìjọba àpapọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí láti pe àkíyèsí tàwọn aláṣẹ tí wọ́n yàn lórí àwọn ìwà tí kò bójúmu tàwọn rec fún ìgbésẹ̀ tó tọ́ àti èyí tó yẹ. Bákan náà àkójọ ìlànà èsì ìdìbò yan gómìnà ní ìlú Adamawa ní láti padà ní àsìkò tó tọ́ pẹ̀lú ìpinnu tó lágbára tàwọn òṣìṣẹ́ wọn. Mínísítà ẹ̀ka ìlera lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí Dr. Osage Ehanire ti ṣe ìgbékalẹ̀ ìlànà ètò ìmúlò àwọn ìwé àṣẹ fún àǹfààní tàwọn obìnrin orílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà ní pàtàkì tàwọn tí wọ́n wà ní ìbísí ọjọ́ orí. Àwọn ìwé àṣẹ náà ló ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ríran àwọn obìnrin lọ́wọ́ láti pe àkíyèsí wọn sí àwọn àṣàyàn àjọṣepọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn àjọ iléeṣẹ́ aládàáni gbogbo. Akọ̀ròyìn wa Aisha Uba Ali tó mú ìròyìn wá sọ wípé àwọn ìwé àṣẹ ọ̀hún ni wọ́n sọ wípé yóò túbọ̀ ran ètò tàwọn iléeṣẹ́ aládàáni gbogbo lọ́wọ́ láti lè túbọ̀ mú ètò ìlera lọ́kùnkúndùn káàkiri pàápàá jùlọ fún tàwọn obìnrin tí wọ́n wà ní ipò ìlóyún àti fún ìlera tàwọn ọmọdé. Bákan náà tí yóò tún túbọ̀ ran ètò ọmọ bíbí lọ́wọ́ àti àwọn kùdìẹ̀kudiẹ ìpèníjà tó ń fa ìpalára bá àwọn obìnrin ní àsìkò ìlóyún. Mínísítà ẹ̀ka ìlera sọ wípé ètò náà ṣe pàtàkì lórí àsìkò yìí láti ṣe ìfilọ́lẹ̀ ìwé àṣẹ náà fún ìrànlọ́wọ́ tàwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n ní ẹ̀ka ìlera gbogbo pàápàá fún ìrànlọ́wọ́ tàwọn obìnrin. Tọ́ kò sọ́jọ́ ta sùn tají tí ò rẹ ni ọpẹ́ làwọn máa dúró ànídáràn Gbénga Olóyèdè kìyìn èrè o.
Jackpot of the week. Place bets and hit the jackpot. Log into the OneXBet account. Click on the Take Part button. Place bet and take part in the jackpot draw. Feel like a winner with OneXBet. Use promo code to get a bonus on your first deposit. Jackpot of the week. Place bets and hit the jackpot. Log into the OneXBet account. Click on the Take Part button. Place bets and take part in the jackpot draw. Feel like a winner with OneXBet. Use promo code to get a bonus on your first deposit.
The program is In and Around.
In and Around is an educative and enlightenment program that showcases lifestyle, arts, music, culture, and anything anything of unique interest. Watch in and around.
You to step out, stand up. Tip 5. Eliminate harmful habits. If you tend to stretch the truth, cut it out. If you use equipment, supplies, or facilities for personal use, stop it. If you interpret company policies to meet your needs, don't do it anymore. This list of ethically bad workplace habits goes on and on. We all have some angles, scams, or some unethical behavior that's the envelope. Whatever they may be, put an end to these harmful habits immediately. Tip 6. Set and complete goals. There is nothing more satisfying and rewarding than achieving a goal. Examples of ethical goals can be telling yourself, when I feel tempted to speak the truth, I will be factual. When this person is in an ethically uncomfortable position, I will stand up for the truth. The act of completing a goal will empower you and give you the courage to do it again and again. Tip 7. Do what you say you will do. Finish what you start. Stay on task. There may be no greater measure of your character than evidence that you are a man or woman of word. Dependability is an invaluable asset in the workplace. It shows ethical honesty. Tip 8. Ignore peer pressure. It is easy to be ethical without the negative influences of others. You can't escape the ethical conflicts with your peers at work. Every job, no matter how isolated, involves working with others. Even the most homogeneous environment will have some level of moral and ethical diversity. Peer pressure can be the most difficult challenge to your personal ethical values. You must learn to stay principles and become. Tip 9. Do activities that enhance your self-discipline, like exercising, sports, or practicing a musical instrument. The fact is, attaining self-discipline in one area of your life will translate to other areas of life as well. Achieving self-discipline in one area reprograms your mind to know what it feels like to say no to the easy way out. Tip 10. Don't give up. Moral and ethical values are not skin deep. You simply cannot walk away from them when times get tough. Many things in life are negotiable, but your principles are not. The personal rewards of building a strong ethical character are well worth the journey. The benefits go far beyond your business at work. They transcend to all areas of your life.
There is only one station that others look up to. A station where professionalism and class come to play. So in whatever we do, be it news, sports, politics, information and culture, even in entertainment, tourism, education, documentaries and kids programming, we set the standard others want to beat. MTA 10. No one does it better. 98.3 Station of Excellence.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Triple F. Today we have something interesting for everyone, especially women. And we're talking about women in parliament. Over the years, you've noticed a dwindle in the number of women participation in the legislative arm of government. And in fact, you agree with me that the last election, a lot of people came out in mass to vote. Yes, the political terrain is different right now. Presently, we have about 8 women in the 9th Assembly. Going forward on the 10th Assembly, which will be taken up by 29th of May, we'll be having about 3 women. That's a difference, a huge difference from 8 to 3. And in fact, the 3 women are even newcomers. And so the expectation is actually very, very high. Now, the Triple F crew has gone out to interview Dr. Kayode Esola, who is our guest for this week. He's an associate professor of political behavior in the University of Lagos. He'll be telling us why the drop in the number of women and why the women that are there right now were not re-elected. We'll find out on the interview. And of course, we'll have a report, an interesting report on the expectations of the electorate, especially as regards to the new legislators that are going in there to represent us. And for this week, I am your guide. My name is Nkem Kibe. We'll go on that report when we return. Then I'll be talking about the interview, intro our guest again, and of course, you will enjoy the flow of the show. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
For a nation's growth and development, there must be a law to be followed and a lawmaker to make the law. Nigerians elected their lawmakers and representatives. As they say, in whom much is given, much is expected. As Nigerians, what are your expectations?
Yeah, I just expect more accountability and probably listen to the people more. Because since you're operating a democracy and you're not really listening to the people, you are just doing whatever you want there.
The last house they pushed some impressive bills, but beyond that, they should check the executives more, because the executives are trying, even the judiciary is not able to, because we've seen a lot of court orders that were not obeyed. So I think that's not good enough. It's not good for a democracy.
So I know that she's well experienced. As a former deputy governor, definitely she has experiences, and then they're like the governing bodies over the Senate and everything. So she definitely has experiences on these things, and I expect that the bills that she's going to be passing into the laws rather, and it's going to be something that she would have thought over very well. And then there are some things that I don't want to be feministic or something like that, but then she's a woman. She understands there are some things, and there is another perspective that she can bring into the Senate House. Yeah, that would be, be of benefit to the House as a whole.
We can start from like the gender bills that were tried to be passed recently, because at the proposed 5th alteration of the Constitution, they tried to pass some gender bills, but the gender bills were knocked down at both houses. That's the House of Rep and the Senate. So that one serves as a setback already, because the gender bill was actually meant to increase women participation in politics. But the fact that our legislators knocked down that bill, that's already making things lopsided already, because it shows that they don't want women to feature in lawmaking. They just want it to be like, oh, okay, if we want to put it there, we'll put it there. We're not going to make it constitutional. So that's already one thing. So I feel that the gender bill should be reviewed, and they should have open discussion, and they should also involve members of the public so that they can deliberate on that gender bill and see if it can be passed at both houses.
As Nigerians wait for the performance of the elected legislators in the 10th Assembly, we hope for a considerable lawmaking for the interest of the masses.
Nice report there. The truth is that the political terrain has really changed. A lot of people's eyes, everybody's eyes is open now, even including me. The expectations are really quite high. Okay, let's go on the interview I talked about before we went on that report. I talked about that with fact that the Triple F crew went out to interview Dr. Kayode Isola, an associate professor of the political behavior in University of Lagos. He was telling us why the difference in the number of women that were elected and why we're having new women right now. We're not even the women that were there before were not re-elected. He'll be telling us all of this, and of course he'll be talking about the challenges and the expectations as far as Nigerians are concerned. Let's do this interview. We'll be right back.
It speaks to political participation and certain dimensions to political participations. For instance, while this is happening at the same time, some statistics are saying that women came out more to vote on the general platform this time. So at the level of gladiatorial political participation, that is wanting to be political gladiator, interest could have dropped and it could have, moved towards wanting to be those who are active as part of the electorate at a subjective level or otherwise. You never can tell. Interest of people may change, Well, in every political system, it is not just one thing or the other. And I'm speaking broadly now as a political scientist who is focused on political behavior. For instance, if you said a political office holder has done well towards ensuring that the yearnings and aspirations of the electorate are met, it is likely, and I'm choosing that word deliberately, it's not a rule, but it is likely that the electorate will come out and give that person the second term, solidarity. That is, however, subject to many other factors: the environment, the security, the temperament, the availability, and all of these things. Okay, that's number one. Two, it could also be a case of the leading candidates in a particular, election period. You remember that in Nigeria, part of the political culture is that people focus more on the chief executive. Very few will do so towards the parliamentarians and others because they think that power resides in the center. So if people, for instance, like those who are in the center, they're likely to come out more to vote for both those center ones and the parliamentarians. If the reverse is the case, they are unlikely to come out and vote, both for people at the center and, of course, for the people at the periphery. No, well, not periphery. No, none is really bigger than the other. But the way we view it in Nigeria, people think that the action rarely resides in the center. So it could be a factor. It could be also a matter of party affiliation. If you understand the Nigerian political terrain, you will see that some 8-9 years ago, the dominant political parties are slightly different from what you have today. At the time, it used to be PDP, APC situation. This time, there's a very strong third force. There was a third force at that time, but not very strong. But this time, there was a very third strong force. And there was even a fourth force that has a local strength. In the case of Kwankwanso's party in Kano and all these things. So the dimensions and the dynamics are different from what you have. All these may influence why people vote or not vote, why people come out at all or refuse to come out, and for that matter, for a particular candidate or another in terms, including the gender. or religion or ethnicity of their party. It's a whole lot of complex things to talk. Yes. And not because it has made the election perfect. No election is perfect all over the world. But because it has created an avenue for people to pragmatically monitor their votes. So even when the votes are manipulated, they can see. Eh? They can monitor their votes and know when votes are being manipulated or, their candidates are being shortchanged. So to that extent, it has increased the transparency of the vote cast and, of course, of the voting procedure. So in the overall, it has served that purpose. But whether it has helped us as a country in the process of our democracy is a debatable issue. I often tell people that democracy is not about election. And that's one thing that our people still do not understand. Election is one aspect of democracy. In fact, in my view, is the least aspect of democracy. You know, so while BOVAS has assisted us in making sure that votes are monitored, not that votes count, it can monitor. Whether it will count or not depends on what it do with. But you can actually monitor, which is a progress point. But it is not on its own an improvement on our democratic system. In fact, there are sections of the world that think that the election we have had in 2023 is a retrogressed version of what we had, say, in 2019 or something. So voting is probably getting sophisticated. But when it comes to democracy as a concept, as a system in which the interest of the people is prominent, the reverse may be the case. It has to do with the electorate, the seriousness and the ruggedity of the people who are contesting, the temperament of the political environment, how volatile, and of course, a host of other factors. So if we have a situation in which people have served well and they could still not get tickets, ordinarily analyzed, the candidates that run against them might be stronger. Okay. On their own part, they might have lost the interest that they used at the first time when they got in. That is ordinarily analyzed. However, we have to localize it in the context of where this happens. In Nigeria, we know there are many other undercurrents that occur in politics that are not global, that are not universal. It could be alignment or realignment of forces intra or interpolitical parties. It could be issue of religion. It could be issue of ethnicity. It could be issue of godfatherism. A whole of these factors will come into play. Politics is not 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. There could be 1,001 things that will come to play. So when you study the specifics, you then know the real answers. But in my view, I don't think it has anything to do with the weakness of the gender or the strength of the other gender. Perhaps one or two things amongst these various factors that I've informed you about. And of course, they're not strange in the world. They're also not very strange in Nigerian politics. It shouldn't be so. People should vote blind completely to your gender, your age, your religion, your ideology. They should vote because of what they see in you as capability to deliver. So, but in speaking that way, I also understand you from the context of being a Nigerian political animal. that votes are often cast based on organic solidarity. A woman like me, a young man like me, and nobody is talking about what the person can do. But my response now must have given you the answer. Maybe what it means is that people did not just vote based on sex, gender. She's a woman and a woman? No. He is man and man? No. They probably voted based on their perception of the candidate's competence. But if there are shortcomings on the part of the National Assembly as a whole, then the women will not be removed from the blame. They may claim that there were very few, but only one person can cause a change where and when necessary, as it were. So the last National Assembly, in my view, did not live up to expectation. Of course, there was a fling of radicalism which was intermittent, especially when security issue came to be. But going by how ASU issue was handled and the kind of action that was seen at that point when the nation's universities were locked for 8 months, I will not give them up to 30%. And so if I will not give the National Assembly up to 30%, I probably will not give the women there up to 30%. They did not perform up to expectation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kayode Sola. He is an associate professor of the political behavior in University of Lagos. Thank you so much. Interestingly, a lot of women, even including me, are really expecting so much from these newcomers that are entering into the legislative arm of government. We expect that they go there and represent women and children. And of course, we know that the more women we have, the more we have our thoughts, our opinions, our policies being represented at that floor. All right, moving on. The next segment is the health segment and survival. You know that child survival hinges on everything in terms of population growth, in terms of national growth. Let me not say too much. Enjoy this report. We'll be right back. Improving the survival chances of newborns, children, and mothers is an urgent global challenge. In Nigeria, it is a major concern and contributes about 13% of the global under-5 mortalities.
Now, child survival encompasses a whole lot of things. One is, it actually even starts from before the child is born. How many antenatal care services did the mother go to? And as soon as the child is born, the next thing you'll be talking about is the child introduced to the first responsibility of the mother, which is introduction to the breast milk. The colostrum, it was administered immediately. Then you talk about exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life. From there, you now move on. While that is happening, you're now beginning to think about other things. And so many other things start, like when it gets to the time the child has to now, be introduced to other infant feeding options, what is the level of hygiene? What kind of water? How clean is the water? How clean is the environment? What about the vaccines, different antigens that the child has to take? So you begin to see that all these begin to form some of those subs that fit into what makes a child survive.
Child survival is a critical element of socio-economic and health indicator of a country. Several efforts have been put in curtailing preventable deaths. Mohamed Okori is a social policy manager with UNICEF. He tells us workable strategies that will aid child survival, especially in a city like Lagos.
If you come to a state like Lagos, the first question you ask is, what are the policies you have on ground? What policies and programs? And the fundamental aspect of it is, whatever you do, is it in the best interest of the child? Because that's the most paramount. If everything you do is in the best interest of the child, then you begin to now see partners. Because even part of the SDGs is partnership. Because you can't do it alone as government. Individuals have to come in, parents have to come in, communities have to come in, and we all play roles. You also see that everybody is involved. The parents, the communities, the grandmothers, the traditional institutions, the religious institutions, the political institutions, all hands have to be on deck. And for us as development partners, we also now come to provide support, provide international best practices, bring on technical expertise and a little bit of other support just to make sure that the child grows, survives, thrives, and then participates and contributes. Because at the end of the day, it's the child you have today that becomes your human capital tomorrow that drives development.
According to UNICEF, in 2020, about 5 million children under the age of 5 died, largely due to preventable causes. To reduce such alarming number, certain measures should be put in place.
Every child has a right. It's not a privilege, actually. It's a right. We must reach every child wherever they are, in whatever conditions they are. And that is why UNICEF, as well as others, continue to work even in the world hardest situations, in emergencies, in the front lines to ensure that those children live, survive, and thrive, because children will still have to contribute. So for Lagos here, Lagos has got it right in so many areas, but then we begin to look at where are those children who are really not reached? How do we reach them? Because here you'll be surprised that there are still children in Lagos that have never taken even one dose of immunization. So we must reach all those children. Then there are policies. Right now, Lagos State government is developing its Lagos State Development Plan, which is going to cover 2022 to 2052. You understand? So with that, we have to also ensure that Lagos, the mega city, is a city that is fit for children. It's a city that has taken cognizance of persons living with disability. It's a city that has taken cognizance of all the children, and not only children, but society. But we focus on children because it's the children. If we catch them at the right time, then we are more confident that in the future we'll have more children. We'll have a robust base of human capital that can drive the economic growth, which translates economic development.
Child survival is an important factor in ending poverty, stabilizing the economy, and securing the future of a nation. Every child has a right to survive. And that's where we'll draw the curtains on this week's edition of Triple F. To all of the people that have been elected, to our lawmakers, you know that we expect so much from you. Go out there, be it a man, be it a woman, go out there and represent your constituency. You must try this time around to deliver, because people are ready right now to remove anyone that is not doing the job. So once you're doing the job, you are sure that the people are okay, they are comfortable, they are satisfied. Trust me, going up next time will not be difficult for you. However, we'll also see that the electorate will also have to remember that not everything will leave it for the government. No, it's not everything will leave for the government. There's a point to get to, even in governance, that you have to also put your hands together, join the government for good governance. And on that note, if you have questions, if you have inquiries, and of course you want to sponsor this program, this part of what I just said now is very important to me, because if you want to see this program every week, you need to sponsor us. Come on. So you see the numbers on the screen, you see the email, you see the social media handles. Send us your questions, your inquiries, and also call us to sponsor our program. From all of us on our Triple F crew, we say a very big thank you for staying with us this week. See you next week. My name is Nkem Okibi. Bye. You will be required to work in a team.
Therefore, your ability to join forces and partner with others in the team to achieve a specific task or goal is key. It involves your ability to connect well with members on the team and others in other departments in joint projects. Problem solving. This involves one's ability to find a way to solve problems and move forward, the ability to think through an issue and make informed decisions. This involves preparing and taking a systematic and resourceful approach by bringing in your creativity and innovation. Problem-solving skills also relate to research, analysis, troubleshooting, resourcefulness, and critical thinking. How do you improve your soft skills? Identify what skills you want to improve on and practice it consistently. Secondly, observe other people within your organization who can excel and discover how to develop yours. Thirdly, set goals and prioritize